Hi everyone. Today's video is basically about the state of Fpga and the Amiga. Obviously how it relates to my cases, obviously, but there is other avenues to follow. So if you find this video interesting, please like and subscribe. So let's start off. What have we got here? Well, unless you were lucky, because they're all sold now. This is the UnAmiga from Edu Arana and a team of talented core programmers. I think mostly in Spain, yeah, basically what we have here is it started out in a product like this, which is called the UnAmiga header. Now this was modified to work on my cases, but it's meant to sit inside an Amiga 500, which I think is really cool. So yeah, that was the original one, and so this concept was then expanded. In fact, there's 2 or 3 iterations of this, but basically it turned into this product, which is called the UnAmiga. Sorry if I'm looking up at the screen. This is the UnAmiga Reloaded, and basically what it is, it's an FPGA Amiga in a small box. Yeah. With some really useful ports on the back. So for example, stereo phonos outputs, obviously left and right, 4 USBs, I'll come back to that in a second, a VGA output, micro USB power input, and a slot for an SD card reader. That's the default one. There is actually another one hidden around the side here, but that's for certain cores that need a second SD card. On the UnAmiga Reloaded, you'll see there's some buttons here which you can control the menu, the F12 menu structure, the menu for this card. But basically what you have is a really nice little product that's got a decent performance. I'll put the performance figures up. But it's about just over twice the speed of an A3000, but it also has AGA, and it's really a nice little product. Now, what Edu did was he created me a custom version of that board in a mini ITX layout like this. So what you're basically getting with all these products, it uses the Mini-Mig core, which is, most of you hopefully will know, is a very stable Amiga core. But it's got some pretty big enhancements. One of the things is it's about twice the performance of the original one, this one. About twice the performance, probably about twice the performance. But what that's allowed it to do is it can have RTG, and so there's an RTG system built into this, which you can see on the screen behind me. Which actually gives a really nice experience. Back in the day we would have loved it. Also there's some other little bits on here which are quite nice. Obviously it's got a battery, if you put a battery here, for the battery backed up clock. One thing I've still to use on mine, just lack of time to be honest, is this little board here, which is a microcontroller. But what it does is it enables the Amiga's operating system to have TCP/IP over high-speed serial. Now that's serial, not Ethernet, but the promise is basically at least being able to get online and be able to do communications, that kind of thing. Maybe even file transfer if the files aren't too big. Because the key thing with this is you take your SD card, you put it in your Windows machine or your Mac machine or your Linux machine, run up Amiga Forever or whichever Amiga emulators you want to run, WinUAE or whatever. Mount that and then do all your main file transfers to that card, and then take it out and put it into here. So, but as I said, I think I'd go as far as to say this is possibly, and I know people are going to disagree with this, I think it's probably, if you're doing an Amiga only, I think this is possibly one of the best value FPGA cards out there. I think it's absolutely amazing, and I've sold out. I had 50 made. We sold probably 35 really quick with the Kickstarter, and then of course it went very quiet, and I had about 15 of these in stock. So we had a review done by Chris Edwards, and they just all went, which makes me think, is there a market for it? I'm not 100% sure, but I think there is still. But everyone obviously has the Vampire standalone in their sites because obviously it's a lot quicker. This has something the Vampire I think lacks, which is cost of entry. These boards are a lot cheaper. I can tell you, this board here is about €200 for a complete system. And bearing in mind that's twice the speed of an Amiga 3000. Getting on for the performance of a 4040, but not quite. But you've got the Rtg and you've got this really nice experience, and it'll run all the latest Amiga operating systems. And so the sweet spot for, especially for people playing games or for playing demos. Now I like demos, not so much games, but for people doing that kind of thing, this is kind of the sweet spot because it's always been a case if you can run 50 megahertz over 30 performance with AGA, that's pretty much the sweet spot, and that's pretty much what this is. In fact, it's slightly faster than 50 megahertz over 30 in an A1200, and that's what you've pretty much got here. So for most users, it's absolutely brilliant. Now, do you want to go the whole hog? Do you just want to run this for a couple of €100? I think if he's doing another batch, get in touch with Edu. It's Arana.net. .net. I'll put the link on screen. Get in touch with me if you want a budget. Buy this. You don't need anything more. I mean, this is more than good enough, and it's a great little product, and I really like it. But if your budget's a little bit better, and you've got more, because obviously now bearing in mind they're all sold. Forgetting the monitor and the speakers, what you'll see here. So. Not including the monitor and not including the speakers, but everything you see here, including the little gamepad, I was selling it for $399 plus VAT. And I mean it's almost giveaway, but I think it was a good little package. I don't think I can do it again because obviously it came with Amiga Forever, which is sitting up there, and it also came with OS 3.1.4. So it was an absolute peach of a deal, and I wanted to sell them all off so I can start again. Now, is it the best FPGA out there? Depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for performance, probably FPGA is not your thing. What you really want is an x86 to run emulation on it, or you want something like a Raspberry Pi and run Amiga emulation on that. That's going to give you the performance, and it's pretty much as accurate if you set. For example, if you're running AmiKit, as long as you set the Linux screen as 50 hertz, what you find is you get some really, really nice smooth animation, and it does run really well. So if that's what you want is performance, then that's your route. If you want FPGA, then of course obviously there is the Vampire. My opinion on the Vampire is great tech, a little bit expensive, but that's just me. So I do make a kit. You can, if you've got one and you want to give it the look, you can pop it into here. I have a fitting kit, and it will give you that look. But then, so you basically got the Vampire, and then you've got the Mini-Mig. Now the Mini-Mig, there's a number of versions, but there's a new one that's come out which is really exciting, which is FPGA for the Amiga. So you can put on a proper 68,000 chip, or you can put one of the accelerator cards in. Now I think they're still doing some work just fine-tuning that, but you can put things potentially like a Pi Storm on it. That's got an enormous potential, and if you're going to do something, if you want performance, I have to say that new Mini-Mig V1.8 with a Pi Storm is getting pretty close to almost perfection. So that's an avenue you can go down. Michael Schultz is doing some fantastic work there. Anyway, so they're all sold. I'll show you now. I've got my. You can probably see I've got my CRT monitor on here. I've had to drop it down to 800 by 600 because it's only a 14-inch. And you know, it looks okay. Hopefully you can see. You don't have flickering. I can't see. That's just the camera, unfortunately. Even though it's set at 50 hertz, it's kind of struggling to. There's not much I can do there. So I'm not seeing that flickering. But what we can do is, for example, having this. This is where the CRTs come into their own. Obviously, with the pack I gave these away, I think you can see it. All right, shall I turn this up just a smidge? Right. Get it a bit brighter. There you go. We've got a little bit of purple, one of the purple lights on it. I gotta watch. Yeah, so there you go. And it does look nice. I mean, low resolution on the CRT does look really nice. I have to admit. People know that I'm developing a monitor, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But yeah, so the thing about this, it's oh god, there you go. This little, let's turn that down. Look at that. Look. There we go. The UnAmiga's just as happy on an old CRT running at whatever at 15 kilohertz. And this is actually funny thing is the UnAmigas by default they turn into 15 kilohertz mode, so you have to run a hotkey. With my ones, I've had it preset, so it's automatically into high scan mode, so it's running at 31 kilohertz, which looks great. And it's just for I thought my customers would prefer that. But yeah, it's a lovely little machine. So I'm just going to show you if you have it connected up to, well, like my new monitor's coming out soon. I've got this running at 1024/768 in 8-bit colour. You can do 15-bit colour. It tends to run better in 256 colours, which is probably better mode for this Rtg because you're kind of pushing it a bit. But as you can see, it does a pretty good job. The UnAmiga works absolutely fantastic on monitors. It looks great on a bigger monitor, obviously. The CRTs give it a nice, in low resolution, I think they give it a really nice flavour. But if you really want to get anything really done, then you're better off on a bigger panel. Modern panels have got some great technology in there, so they can give. And this is running at 50 hertz, no problem whatsoever, and just looks absolutely. Hopefully, it's coming across on there because I'm recording this at 50 hertz, so this should be perfectly smooth going along the bottom, as you can see. I think it looks fantastic. And of course, if you want to get anything seriously done, then you can go back into here and you can use your Rtg modes, which I think are absolutely brilliant. So let's, for example, nice bit of directory open if you want to play some music. How are we doing with the brightness there? Oh, we'll leave that. Yeah, so I can do most things you want to do. I think the UnAmiga is absolutely fantastic. So yes, I've sold them all, but you never know. We may do some more in the future if there's a demand. But we're looking at other Fpga options. But if you want to get something now, get yourself one of these UnAmigas from Edu Arana on arananet.net or .com. I think it's .net. And of course, one thing I forgot to mention was you've got a Macintosh as well. Here we go. It's a Macintosh. So with UnAmiga, you can not only run all your games, all your demos. You have a great workbench experience because of the Rtg. If you've got a bigger monitor, you can run 1024/768, or you can go widescreen 1280/720. Preferably in 8 color, but you can go 15-bit as well. But it runs really nicely in 8-bit. And you can have a Macintosh, UnAmiga, and you know, the world's your oyster. So from a budget point of view, if you're on a budget, you can pick these up for about 200 euros. Of course, if you can go a little bit further, then you can expand it with a nice case, etc., etc. But yeah, UnAmiga is fantastic, and maybe we'll do another batch in the future, or we'll find something more interesting. as I said, I'm hoping out for a mini MIG with a PyStorm. Hope you enjoyed that. Speak to you soon. Thanks very much. The Checkmate 1500 Mini and Plus cases are mostly engineered and manufactured in the UK. They're designed to give a nice retro inspired vibe on your desktop. The 1500 Plus is the biggest of the cases and designed to be able to take much bigger motherboards inside. So this can take a micro ATX as well as mini ITX if you want to build a PC. But also with the correct rear panel you can fit an Amiga 500, an Amiga 1200 and an Amiga 600 and build your ultimate Amiga rig. The Mini is designed to take mini ITX motherboards, but don't think that limits you. Yes, you can build a PC, but also you can put in many custom motherboards from the retro scene, like the Mystics, which takes a DE10 Nano, one of our DE10 Nano fitting kits, a fitting kit for the Raspberry Pi 4, and other systems that are coming on stream right now. The Checkmate Garage was inspired by our new monitor developments. The reason being, if you've got a 500, 1200, an Atari ST, BBC Micro, or any of the all-in-ones, it's nice to be able to put the monitor directly above and tidy up your system. However, exciting new product is our new range of monitors, 17 and 19 inch retro inspired monitors with loads of input, but also capable of taking an all-in-one computer internally. The monitor will come to Kickstarter hopefully August, September time. If you want to go on the mailing list telling you when it's ready, please point your camera at this QR code and it will take you to the page, which will then allow you to press a button to add yourself to the mailing list. The monitor is an important part of this company's strategy. Large amounts of development work are being done and it will be like nothing you've ever seen. So hopefully it will pique your interest and you'll back us on the Kickstarter. Let's come to Patreon. Patreon is a very important part of this project. What we're planning with Patreon is, if you are a Patreon backer, whatever you've invested in Patreon to help us, we will put up to 5% of an order. So you get an extra 5%, but that's the whole order. Doesn't matter what you've ordered. It doesn't even matter if you don't back us on Patreon anymore. Hopefully you'll come back, but we want to show our gratitude to all those who backed us in the past. You'll see their names ticking by in this video. But I also know this is not just about people wanting discounts on products. They want more content from myself. So what you're going to see is a lot more videos from me, because now that I am full-time on this project, I'll have more time to spend on it. So I can give you videos of my computers. You'll notice I do have a reasonable collection and I'm going to talk you through them. This is something that was at the top of the list for people who back me on Patreon. Not everyone does it to back the new projects. So how come I've got more time? Well, for the last 15 years I've worked for a company called Web Labs and they've been absolutely fantastic. In fact, none of these products would have existed, and I'm going to stick their logo up here. I want to thank them, and going forward we'll probably still work with Web Labs and do some further development. But ultimately I want to concentrate on this project and hopefully make a success of it. And let's hope I can be doing this for many years to come.